It's a brand new year, so we're kicking things off with a special Patreon fund drive. For every $25 we raise in new Patreon subscriptions from now through February 5th, 2022, you'll unlock random bonus shows or perks based on the roll of our special D6 dice. If we get to $100 in new subscriptions by February 5th, you'll get a critical hit and unlock a special short story written and produced by myself. Sound good to you? Then we hope you'll head on over to patreon.com/bndpod and subscribe right now for as low as $2 a month to get our treasure trove of exclusive shows and bonus content and perks, as well as help us reach our goal. See you there! Page 39, January 21st, 2022. Hello all, and welcome to another edition of the Book Nerd Diaries. We're the meditative bi-weekly podcast that dives deep into the latest books we've crossed off of our endless to-read list. Spoilers lie ahead, folks, so please watch your step and come chill out with us as we get our book nerd on. They say that music has the power to soothe the savage beast. When anxiety makes it hard to work or sleep, playing some classical or lo-fi music can often help quiet the racing mind. When you need to exercise or psych yourself up for a big night out, you might crank up the loudest rock and roll you can find to get your heart pumping. The right music can sometimes make all the difference, turning a moment from average to unforgettable. As you'll find in our book today, This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab, music can be much more than the artistic spice of life. If the music you're listening to happens to be played by August, one of the book's dual protagonists, it might just be the last thing you'll ever hear. Please be warned. This story has some fairly intense moments that might not be suitable for everyone, so please check out the content warnings in our show notes before going ahead with this episode. Ready? Then let's get into it. As our book opens, a teenager named Kate Harper enters the chapel of the ultra-strict Catholic school her father had put her in. She pours out gasoline, lights a match, and sets the building ablaze, before taking a seat in a pew and waiting for the police to arrive. She is promptly arrested and transported to her destination of North B City. The city had been split in two years before, after an extreme surge in violence gave birth to vampiric monsters who literally, or figuratively, feed from it. As a result, there was a major dispute between two leaders, Henry Flynn and Callum Harper, of how to deal with them. The culmination of this was a portion of the city's center being leveled in a mysterious explosion, and a wall being constructed to officially divide Flynn and Harper's territories forever. Callum Harper, who is Kate's father, rules his fortified domain of the North City with an iron fist. With little time to care for his only daughter and heir, he calls Kate as she is being driven to the dangerous heart of the city and asks why she has gotten herself kicked out of yet another boarding school he sent to. Having finally gotten his attention, she simply answers that she wants to come home. We then go to our second hero, August, who is likewise unsatisfied with his lot in life. His father, Henry Flynn, is leader of South City, and August wishes to help fight and protect its citizens like the rest of his family does. When he brings this desire to his parents, however, they tell him that he is still too young to put himself in such danger. August states that he is more than capable of protecting himself. To prove his point, he drives a knife toward his hand, which glances off as if it had hit stone. After some discussion and cool-down time, August's father informs him that there might be a way he can help after all. As Kate continues her journey back home, August prepares for his very first day at his new school, Colton Academy in North City. He bids his family farewell and sets out for the border dividing North and South City. Everyone who passes through this point must be confirmed as human, and August does not wish to be revealed as a monster, so he instead gets a subway pass from an ally named Paris to bypass the wall altogether. While August makes his way to the school, Kate arrives at her father's lavish penthouse. He passes along the message to his daughter that she will be immediately sent away permanently if she is expelled again, and she agrees. After going to such lengths to be back home, why would Kate put that in jeopardy? August, meanwhile, gets to Colton Academy, where he is enrolled as a junior student under the pseudonym Frederick Gallagher. He tries his best to blend in with the bustling crowd of teenagers, marveling at how grandiose the school and the entire North City are compared to the South. As he acclimates himself with his new surroundings, he must also keep in mind the mission that brought him here in the first place, getting as close as he possibly can to fellow new students and our other protagonist, Kate Harper. Sure enough, Kate and August's lives are soon brought together when they bump into each other outside the school. Kate's reputation as Callum Harker's daughter and the story of her burning down the chapel of her former school precede her, but August finds himself genuinely enjoying her company, as she does his. The tentative friendship they form, however, presents a number of problems for August. How can he complete his mission without giving his true nature away? And what will he do if the daughter of his family's greatest rival finds out that he's not who he says he is? Likewise, Kate has worked very hard to earn her place at her father's side. How can she possibly live up to his brutal legacy and still listen to her own heart at the same time? The book This Savage Song first came to my attention through the fact that it was written by one of my absolute favorite authors working today, Victoria, also known as V.E. Schwab. I first discovered her work a couple of years ago when I discovered her stunning Shades of Magic trilogy during a hunt for new titles at the library. Needless to say, I devoured all 3 books in no time at all, then moved on straight to her equally brilliant Villains duology. I adored every single one of those titles without fail, and so it was an absolute no-brainer that I should discuss one of her books with all of you today on the show. I think what V.E. Schwab does so brilliantly in her work, especially in the Villains duology, as well as the Monsters of Verity duology, of which This Savage Song is the first, is that there are no true heroes. Her characters all have good intentions, and do what they believe is the right thing, though their methods of going about it are deeply flawed at times. This dichotomy is no better illustrated than in the characters of Kate Harper and August Flynn. On one hand, August is a person classified as a monster by society, trying his best to be human. He is a Sunai, an incredibly rare type of energy vampire, born from particularly violent tragedies. Sunai can hypnotize humans through their inborn musical skills, and they sustain themselves by draining the life force of those with sin on their souls. If a Sunai goes too long without feeding, they go dark and lose all control of themselves. August, naturally, does not wish this to happen at all, but neither does he enjoy having to kill people to prevent it and sustain his own life. Due to this heavy weight of conscience, August tragically starves himself for as long as he can to hold on to his humanity. I'll also note here that at one point he adopts the cat of one of his victims and names it Allegro, which my own cat and official studio supervisor Nova would like to share that she deeply appreciates. In the case of our other protagonist, Kate, almost the exact opposite is true. As the daughter and heir of essentially V-City's most powerful crime lord, she feels like she must deny her humanity and essentially become a monster herself, to one day take his place. Kate's growing friendship with August and evolving understanding of monsters ultimately cause her to question her previous ambitions and what she truly wants for herself. Together, our two heroes, both with blood on their hands, start envisioning a better future for themselves and everyone. One where monsters and humans are judged for who they are, not what they are. In the end, those who are called monsters are sometimes just as capable of humanity as any human, and humans can often be just as monstrous, if not more so, than those who are shunned and feared for being monsters. What results is a sometimes dark, often layered story about the true nature of good and evil. Are we born one way or the other, or is it a choice you must make for yourself? People have been having this debate of nature versus nurture for centuries, and I don't think we'll ever truly get to the end of it. But I think this book serves as a compelling study of one of psychology's great paradoxes. In the end, I would recommend this savage song to those who love a good monster story. For those who read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein and sympathize with Frankenstein's monster, or who grew up with the lonely outcasts portrayed so beautifully by the films of Tim Burton or Guillermo del Toro, monster is often a label used as a synonym for evil. But if some monsters are like the good-hearted August, is a monster such a bad thing to be? Here we conclude the main portion of our discussion for today. Fear not, though, dear listeners. There is still more Book Nerd Diaries to come after this very quick break. And welcome back, everyone. Now that we're on the other side of the break, I think it's now time for a visit to that nerdiest segment in podcasting, the Trivia Corner. For those who are new to our show, here is where we give you a trivia question, related in some way to the book we've covered today. Since the Sunai in this savage song lure their victims through music, we've got an equally musical question for you. Ready? Your question is, the song Für Elise, which you should be hearing in the background right now, was written by which of these legendary composers? Was it A. Bach, B. Mozart, or C. Beethoven? If you'd like, you can pause the episode right now to make your guess before hitting play again. Your answer is C. Beethoven. Ludwig van Beethoven wrote the song that would become most known as Für Elise in the year 1810. Though it remains arguably one of the most famous pieces of classical music ever created, it tragically did not see the light of day until 40 years after his passing, when music scholar Ludwig Noll discovered and published it. Considering it's still being played in recitals all over the world today, I'm sure that Beethoven would be very proud of the musical legacy he left behind. My source for this question was Wikipedia, and the music you heard was by Joseph Monter on Pixabay. With that all, we have finally made it to the end of our episode for today. As the final notes fade out, we would like to send our deepest gratitude to Julie and Katie, aka one of the very best sisters a podcaster could ever ask for being our amazing Ride or Die subscribers at patreon.com/bndpod. Thank you so much as well to those who have spread the word about our show by leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts, sharing our episodes on social media, or telling the people in their lives about us. For small operations like ours, every bit helps more than you could possibly know. Next week, Friday, January 28th, we'll be releasing an exclusive episode just for our $5 and up Patreon subscribers, so please come join us. And we'll be right back here in 2 weeks for another edition of the Book Nerd Diaries. We'll see you then. The Book Nerd Diaries is written, edited, researched, and hosted by me, Amber Wilchin. Hello. Thank you so much to the wonderful Astrofrack from Pixabay for the use of our theme song, The Grand Entrance, which you should be hearing right now. Any sound effects you heard during the episode are also provided by the good people of Pixabay, so please check out our show notes for full credits. Finally, thank you very much to Sincerely Media on Unsplash via Anchor for our wonderful cover art. If you'd like to connect with us online, please follow us on Instagram or Twitter at BNDPod, on Facebook at Book Nerd Diaries, or via our website at bndpod.wordpress.com. Again, all the links you need are in our show notes, so please come say hi. If you have any comments, questions, or ideas for future episodes to send my way, please feel free to drop us an email anytime at bndpod@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, everyone, please be good to yourselves, because the world needs you. And don't forget to support your local library.